Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
Welcome, everyone, to Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. Definitely glad to see you guys here on the weekend. We should be joined shortly by our guest, Eugene Braxton, to talk astral travel, lucid dreams, and NDEs, near-death experiences. So should be an awesome conversation. We'll be getting underway in just a moment. Let me go ahead and take a look and see who's out there in the chat. And let's see here. Did I get an email for Race Fan? I think I did. Let me see. Yes, Race Fan with the gold, Chris Laker with the silver, and then Kitty Catty Whack with the bronze. Appreciate you guys coming on in as we get ready to get into the show tonight. It's going to be Eugene Braxton, hours 1 and 2, should be. And then we'll have in hour 3, obviously, Steve Stockton, Missing Person Mysteries, Drew Banky with the After Hours wrap up, and maybe more. Who knows? Just definitely want to stick around and as we go ahead and get into this here. So let me see. We have Little Camp 5-1. We have Roger Murray, October 30th, 1938, 86th anniversary. Orson Welles War, the World's Radio Broadcast. Wow. That was, yes, national panic, we'll say, from that broadcast. Let's see who else we have here. Mothman. We got Christine. We got, let's see, Stargazer. We got Miss Catherine Jones. We have, let's see, who else do we have? Looking down here. Did I say Little Camp 5-1? I'm going to say Little Camp 5-1 again. And we got Baywatcher out there. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Your Space Out Radio had an interesting thought for y'all, man. Lay it on us. Let us know anytime. Definitely let us know. Male WD-40 getting us lubed up, ready to get into the show. Who else do we have out there? Looking down the list here. Flat 6, I see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the podcast side started on this thing tonight as we get ready to get into some awesome conversation. Hopefully it should be pretty good for you guys. We'll see. All right. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio After Hours Radio Show. I'm your host, Mr. Rob G. We're going to be getting into near-death experience, astral travel, lucid dreaming tonight for hours 1 and 2. And then hour 3, we'll be getting in Steve Stockton and Drew Banky. Here we go. Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And tonight we're broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on digital platforms all around the world. Remember, you can access our archives for absolutely free at youtube.com/@SpacedOutRadio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio and at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire. You can get yourself some official Spaced Out swag. Plus, you can rock out to that man right there, Mr. Bumblefoot, and so much more. Fantastic. We're getting ready to get into a really great show tonight. We'll have Eugene Braxton joining us, talking about lucid dreaming, astral travel, near-death experiences. You know, it's a topic we haven't touched in a while. And for hours 1 and 2, and then for hours 3, we'll get into some Steve Stockton, missing person mysteries. And then we'll get into some real deep conversations, especially on this topic with our guy, Drew Banky, with the After Hours wrap-up. So I already know it's going to be a fantastic show. If you guys are ready to go, then we can go ahead and jump into this show tonight. We're going to go ahead and bring up our guest for the night, and that is none other than the man of the hour. It's going to be Eugene Braxton. And here he is. Eugene, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, Rob. How you doing, my man?
All right. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we had a great conversation. So glad to have you back here. We're going to definitely jump into, some lucid dreaming, astral traveling, near-death experience. I know you're definitely versed on these subjects. So kind of give everybody a quick introduction to you. They haven't seen you for a while. Some people are new. Let them know who you are, what you deal with, the mysticism, and all the other things that you're dealing with as well.
Okay, Rob. Yeah. My name is Eugene, from Philadelphia originally. I've lived around Ohio, other states, Pennsylvania, New York. I've had psychic experiences since I was a kid. About age 6, I started having dreams, lucid dreams, and out of bodies, and they were intertwined with each other. I'd have one, then another of each different one. And sometimes they would be intermingled with each other. Like it might be a half of a dream, but that also entails an out of body. So that went on heavily from age 6 to 16. By the time I was like 12 or 13, I knew it by heart. All around, I've had about 12,000 at the lowest count out of bodies. So I knew that well. And that in the dreaming is like the key to most of the paranormal things. Those are the doors.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to get into, because I know we had excellent conversations on this topic before. Yeah. And we talked about how those would be the doors, and I guess let's start with because we can go so many places. Start with what led you into where was your first understanding of knowing that what you were doing was lucid dreaming? When did you realize it? When did it you come to terms with the fact that that's what you were doing?
Yeah, Rob. I always knew that there was an invisible world that was with us, usually at night or when we're alone. And I was always aware of that. And then the dreams started. And usually with psychic experiences, you will begin to notice a change in your sleep patterns. Your sleep patterns will change. So the dream started. And what was the beginning of your question, Rob?
It's like, you know, what was the moment that you understood that this was lucid dreaming?
Okay. Well, yeah, the lucid dream is different than the regular dream in that it's more vivid, more colorful. It's more emotionally charged. You're way more awake in it. And you can alter or control it if you have enough experience, or if like your level of consciousness is high enough, if your level of awareness is awake enough. The first time that I realized that I was having a lucid dream that was different than a regular dream was, and a lot of people have had this, is during a falling dream. And at least 50% of people have falling or flying dreams. And those are actual dreams, but they're also what you could call doorways or a portal to the out of body. The dream is related to the out of body, like they're cousins. The out of body is the little brother of the near death. So they're all connected. And through the dreams, I got to understand each one. Like the lucid dream, in the lucid dream, you can fly. In the lucid dream, you can go through a wall. In the lucid dream, you can go like from where I am to where you are right now, just by thinking about it. In the lucid dream, you have more control over the dream. You can think. Your clarity of consciousness is higher in the lucid dream. The lucid dream may be short, but super vivid, where you'll remember it all your life, especially if you write it down. Lucid dream is super colorful, and the lucid dream is so different that you can actually tell that you're not in a regular dream. Like, for example, in a lucid dream, I had a lucid dream once where I was walking down our street. This was in Ohio. And we were going to the movie theater, and I looked up to see what was playing, and, expecting Clint Eastwood or Jim Brown. And the words began to move and squiggle as I looked at them. And that's a sign that that you're in a dream. Also, another sign, and you can test yourself, is to jump up in the air. And if you come down slowly, that's a lucid dream. Once you realize that, you can wake up in the same way that you would wake up from sleep to regularly, like you'd wake up that much more, like your consciousness would expand. And then you would either become invisible in the real world, or else you would become visible in that dream world, but could really do anything you want. Like you could zoom off flying like Superman. You could walk into a casino, and it's kind of like a realm where you can explore and develop your psychic and spiritual abilities, because it's one of the doorways that leads to the out of bodies. Like the path is where the person starts, where the initiate starts with the dreams. The dreams will, especially after a number of them, and you'll get to, there's a few different dreams, future dreams and all that. We'll get into it. But the dreams lead to the lucid dreams, where you realize some dreams are more real than others, and you do have a different control. It's a completely different realm, just right above the dreams. The lucid dream is a doorway to the out of bodies, where you have even more control. And we'll get into what happens in the out of body, but the lucid dreams leads to that. And the falling dreams is where I first realized that I was in something that was more than a dream. I had more control. I was more awake. And now I had these falling dreams repeatedly over and over and over. I got so used to them that after like the 60th time one summer, I woke up. I realized that I was falling, so I said, "It's a dream." So I just let that same dream. So I just let myself fall. And when I did, and I stopped struggling from the fall, I began to slow down. And then I said, I wonder if I can fly, because I was slowing down to like a floating stage. And when I said fly, I started flying. I got so excited that I woke up. And in those realms, in any realm, this physical world or the spiritual world, you always want to try to keep control of your thoughts and emotions. Like in that realm, you want to fully observe non-verbally and let your subconscious, which is home for that realm, let that be the main personality. And then we have two minds, the subconscious and conscious. And our subconscious mind in that realm is the conscious mind. Yeah, the falling dreams were the first ones. And one time, Rob, I was having a falling dream. I realized I was falling. I let myself go. I started flying. And then from there, you can literally just kind of, what's the word? Jump, like time jump right into the out of body. And another way to do that through a lucid dream is to program your dreams or control your dreams, where you have a dream that you're flying, and when you see yourself in the dream flying or landing, you'll then can wake up, which you'll think you're waking up in the dream world, but you're actually waking up. It's in reality, but invisible. It depends on how awake and how aware you are. But that's, yeah.
And I'm glad that you gave such a great detailed explanation, as you always do. You always do every time we talk. But real quick, because the last time we actually spoke, I had an understanding of these things, but I think it's gone a little further now, because I just did a show on this recently on my own channel. So lucid dreaming is, as far as the control aspect, it's realizing that you are in this dream, right? It's realizing that you are in a dream, and then therefore you're able to kind of manipulate how that goes. But yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, you're right.
I was going to say, I just wanted to, for the audience, to get the contrast on then explaining real quickly in the way, the beautiful way that you do so, what astral travel is and how these two differ.
Okay, I'm taking a pipe smoking. Yeah, the astral travel is it's a controlled out of body. Astral travel is the experienced out of body person. And once the person has enough practice and experience in out of bodies, then you can astral travel at will. And it's a controlled out of body. That's what really astral travel is.
So, and is this, in the way that, in the way that you lucid dream, and you obviously you have to get into the dream first to realize, hey, I'm in this dream and this is a dream. So then with astral travel, is it just something that you control from your waking state? Like as a waking person, you can control if you choose to astral travel? Or how does that work? Like, when do you know? Is it an intent that you have to astral travel, or do you? I don't know how, I don't know how to explain how that initial process works.
Yeah, the astral travel, we can say astral travel or out of body. It's actually better, because when you're out of body, you are astral traveling. You're traveling throughout the astral world. But the astral traveler can do it at will. And now you wanted to ask me, what about that?
So basically, just when is it something that you say, okay, I'm going to astral travel, and then you go ahead and do it?
Okay. No.
Well,
yes. Yes, and no. The person can will, after enough practice with the dreams, can will themselves or guide themselves into an out of body. I'll explain the steps. However, there are spontaneous out of bodies, like when a person is sick. or you're a football player and you get hit super hard, you come out of your body. That happened to me once. Or if a person, sicknesses, oversleeping or undersleeping can easily cause you to have an out of body. You can have an out of body if you go to take a nap in the daytime when you usually don't take a nap, or sleep at different times that you would. Sometimes you can put your head down on the other end of the bed, and that will cause you to have an out of body. But there's a mechanical way through the breathing exercises that you can literally guide yourself into an out of body, and you can see it happen because of that emotional control. And the breathings will keep you awake as your body goes to sleep. Your mind will be continuously awake, even though in complete darkness. The breathings will give you that continuity of consciousness, and it'll become a muscle response where you're breathing automatically, but you'll be so focused on the breathing that will lead you from the super subtle, like when you're falling asleep, that's super subtle. The breathings can keep you awake as you're going deeper and deeper into a sleep. And then as you continue to breathe through muscle memory, you can cross over into the dream and even see it slowly forming as you're going deeper and deeper into sleep. And the only thing that keeps you awake is that steady rhythmic breathing. And kind of at that point, you're only hearing it inside your mind. Initially, you'll have things going through your mind as you begin to do your breathings. But once you get into a deeper, stiller sleep, it'll be mainly just you, your heartbeat. You can usually hear it, and then the breathings in and out and in and out. And you go into that zone, you go deep. And a lot of times, something in the background, like a low-playing radio or the kids watching TV where you're, can also keep you on that borderline of sleep and unconsciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But the breathings will get you over into that state where the paralysis begins. Some people find themselves paralyzed as they're half awake, half asleep, and they can't jerk awake. That's a freaky thing that we'll get into too, but it is real and it's natural, this kind of paralysis, because it's the signal that you're about to have an out of body. And even though the paralysis is alarming, you want to let it occur in a Mr. Spock way, where you're just observing it but not reacting to it, and watch everything that happens during it. And I'll explain what happens, but continue doing the breathings. That breathing will give you that singular focus, and it'll also keep you awake as your spirit body begins to slowly come up out of the physical to recharge in the electromagnetic energy that's in the air. See, like when we go to sleep, it's not knocking out that makes us, that recharges us. It's actually our spirit body comes out, and often it stays right near the physical body, recharges, and then comes back into the physical. So we come in and out of our body twice a night. And the dreams and lucid dreams show you that there's more out there. And then the out of bodies is a totally even different thing, where you begin to absorb some of the cosmic residue from being outside of your body and awake in your spirit body form, which is the highest you. So.
Okay, so and I just want to ask this because I was, and you've explained it, but I just want to be clear. So in the process of astral travel, it sounds like, and I guess in both cases, astral travel and lucid dreaming, it sounds like you need to be in a rested state, like essentially, mostly like as if you're going to sleep, right? And then once you are asleep, then you're able to determine at that point that you're either lucid dreaming or astrally traveling. So is that when the experience starts, after you've gone into an unconscious state?
Yeah, the main thing the person wants to do is to stay awake while they're going to sleep. And the breathings will allow you to do that. Because a lot of times, if the person just goes to bed and thinks inside their mind while going to sleep, usually they just drift off. The meditational breathings, and you can count them if you want, keep you awake enough and still enough where it's just you in the breathings and nothing else. And And that's the state you want to be in, because you do get some like startling revelations, or you might hear lyrics to the perfect song. And you want to stay in that in-between state. The breathings will keep you there. It's an interesting state to be in too. But the main thing it does is help you to switch over to the dreams while still awake. And the Native Americans called it like walking between two worlds. And then that opens the doors to a lot of other things.
Okay. And how would I know? Like, how would I know once I'm in that rested state and I'm experiencing something, and I'm trying to at this point consider if I'm lucid dreaming or if I'm astral traveling? What are the key indicators at that moment that would let me know, okay, this is a lucid dream, or okay, you're actually astrally traveling? What about that, what would I encounter in that rested state that would let me know what side I'm on?
Okay. Yeah, from paying full attention to the regular dreams, you'll begin to see like the physical properties of that dream world. Like, for example, in a physical regular dream, if something is chasing you and you're running, it feels like you're running in slow motion. And you don't even think about flying, which you can easily do in the lucid dream. In lucid dream, you can just think about being somewhere else and disappear completely from the scene. In the regular dream, it can be more emotional, more frantic, not logical, chaotic, depending on the dream. But the lucid dream is the regular dream to the lucid dream, that's I kind of go over the question again, Rob.
Yeah, basically I just want to know, like, once
How you can tell the differences.
State,
Yes.
what lets me know if I'm over here or over here?
Yeah, those things. Once you get used to the properties of the physical dream or the normal dream, then you'll easily see the differences in the other dream, in the lucid dream, all these dream things. But just like I said, you won't be able to run. You might be in the regular dream, you might be at the scene but not fully involved in it, or you could be up like a pinpoint of light, just observing from below. The regular dream is not as clear. It might be murky. It might be even hard to see. The regular dream might be a mishmash of like I've had regular dreams that was a mishmash, and they were dream clues telling me that you can wake up because like here's one that I had. I dreamt that I was traveling through the city to my house, and when I got to my house was half of one house that I lived in one state and half of another house that I lived in another state. So that was a clue that you're dreaming, just like the writings on the theater marquee. And once you begin to record your dreams regularly, which you should, then you'll begin to see the patterns in them. And then you'll begin to learn how to control them. You'll learn which times to go to bed at night.
Hold right there, Eugene. We're getting ready to go to break. So learning to control dreams. We're going to get back right after this break. Learning how to control your dreams is where we'll pick back up on the other side of this break. Right here at Spaced Out Radio, After Hours Radio Show. Get your thinking caps on. We're going to be going deep tonight, having a deep conversation. So get ready. Moving the needle. Okay, yeah, definitely. We are clear, and I just wanted to get that clarification out first, because I know the basics of it, because I kind of talked about it about a week or so ago. But knowing when you're in that rested state, those key things to know. Hey, okay, I'm lucid dreaming at this moment, and I actually want to go over the dream. I think you may have heard this before, but I do want to still tell you about it again so you can help me understand what I was doing in that moment.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely, Rob. Yeah.
So other than that, it's been a while. We haven't we haven't talked in a while. You've been where you been? You've been doing all right? Everything's okay?
Yeah, just taking care of like a normal life stuff, making sure I get the checkups and relaxing more, watching what's happening in the world, all these Israel and Iran and the migrants, and just kind of watching and then relaxing. Yeah. I've been doing some interviews like this spring and the summer, about 9 or 10, I think, since January. But
Yeah, I think I saw you somewhere.
yeah, just relaxing more and just waiting for this election thing. This should be a while.
Yeah, let's get past it. I'm just counting the days. Like, hey, let's just get through it. It's just so we can move on with life. I just
Yeah.
want to move on with life.
Yeah, they've been focusing on that since like May or April. Yeah.
Because you know what? Because we have bigger fish to fry, anyways. We have way bigger fish to fry. Consciousness, we have to raise consciousness globally. We have a lot of conversations that we need to have. And so I just want to get all the messy BS out of the way so we can get to the real deal.
Yeah.
The stuff that really improves life, quality of life.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want that and are trying to get that. But then you have the other half too, or not even half. It's like maybe the other 30% or something, I think most people want good things and are trying to do good. There's a lot of dumbasses too. There's a lot of that. You see them on the news every night.
Yeah, I try not to watch the news. I try to stay away from it. I try.
Yeah, yeah, it is. How much time do we have left? I want to see if I can go to the bathroom.
You got about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, I'll be back in 1.
Yep. Polly Rotterman joining us. Missed you the other night, Polly. Thanks for coming on in. Awesome stuff. Mike Bothwell, I see you as well. Daniela, Hillbilly Herb, see you out there. I see you. Brown Dwarf BD, I see you out there, man, for sure. Uncaged Savage, new and welcome. You're very welcome, dear. So thanks for coming on in. We got Barbara Mora. Definitely glad to see you here. Saying incredible subject tonight. I've had lucid dreams in my younger years. It's weird to control my dreams. And that's kind of where the lines blur because you kind of don't, when you feel and you're going through the thing and you're trying to determine what it is that you're doing. That's why I was asking them those questions, because let's clarify first, when I'm in that rested state, what makes me know that I'm doing one or the other? Because next time this happens, if you can control yourself in lucid dreams, I want to be able to do some really cool stuff. I want to do some really cool stuff next time I know I'm lucid dreaming. Zaddy, I see you out there. Thanks for coming in. Joey Glow, thanks for coming in. I had a lot of notifications that were sent out to some people. So let me know if you had received some of those notifications from Spaced Out Radio. It may have been related to like old posts that you put out. Let me know. Stargazer, I never dream about UFOs or aliens or evil clowns. I dream about an evil government trying to take me out. That's a nightmare, then. You're having a nightmare. I'm going to classify that as a nightmare. All right. We got about 30 seconds here, and I think our guest had an issue, so I hope he jumps right back up in here. There he is. Back right in time. We got about 20 seconds left. Mike Bothwell, you got like 30 notifications. Yeah, I was replying. So a lot of people who haven't been here in maybe years probably got some notifications. So it should be awesome. That means they can show up and come enjoy the show, right? Awesome stuff. And here we go. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. We are in the back half of the first hour. Already 30 minutes gone. We're back with our guest here, Eugene Braxton, getting in to figure out the differences between how do you know when you're lucid dreaming, when you're dreaming, if it's a lucid dream or if it's the astral travel. We're going to be talking about that and more as we get right back into the show and get these questions going here. And I have a lot of them, so let's get this thing started. So once again, we were jumping right back in, Eugene, figuring out, okay, lucid dreaming, controlling your dream. So you said you had a dream that you were going to your house and it was half of one house and half of the other house.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go ahead and pick up from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of clues that you can help, differentiate between a regular dream and the lucid dream. Like here's another one: is you can look at the sky in a regular dream, and it may just look kind of like it looks in reality. In the lucid dream, you may see it moving about in the ultra fast motion when they, put a camera on the rooftop and they show it in the fast motion, or the skies may. You may see ribbons of colors in the lucid dream. You can definitely tell it's different. But the key though, because I once had a lucid dream where I was dunking a basketball and then I woke up. The key is to not, the emotion is different in the lucid dream. It could be super happiness or ecstasy, or it could be something, less ecstatic or darker. But usually they're okay, and there are places where you can experiment. And the best way to have a lucid dream, where you know you're in the dream, is to plan the dream out. Like I used to have this this exercise where as I was doing the breathings and going to sleep, I would imagine I was climbing up a ladder or in an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And the higher and higher I got, the deeper and deeper I was going into sleep. When I got to the top, I would see that I would be out past the clouds, like in the Roadrunner cartoons. I'd be that high. Bit by bit, the little thing I was standing on would disintegrate, and I would fall. That was like the repeating dream that I had over and over. Those kind of fantastical dreams where the person has to say, "Am I dreaming?" Any kind of dream where you have to say, "Is this a dream?" One way you can see is by looking at your watch in the dream, and if you see the bands moving in a squiggly way, that's a dream. Or jumping up and down. There's a number of things, but the lucid dreams are shorter but super fantastic, and you can program yourself to fall asleep into a lucid dream by imagining yourself flying. That's really the best way. And you'll realize and remember, or imagine yourself running a touchdown if you don't want to be high up in the sky. And you'll begin to, as you're doing the meditational breathings and going to sleep, as you imagine yourself running down the field over and over, or just one long continuous field, you'll imagine so vividly where you're doing the moves and everything that you'll think that you're imagining, but you'll actually be somewhere running in the dream. The dream is slowly starting to form, and it's the breathings that carries you over into the dream. And the person will wake up and say, "Wow, for a second I thought I was dreaming," when they were, but they thought they were meditating. It's something that you definitely have to experience and practice. But you got to work on the dreams, remember them, learn how to have them. We can go into that, and then the lucid dreams will come. And you can plan a lucid dream to get into a lucid dream.
Okay, so let me clarify this. So the dream is just the uncontrollable dream. It's a dream where you just go through the motions, but the lucid dream is the one that you can control while you're in the dream.
Yes.
Okay, so let me lay this one on you. This is one that I had, and I felt like mainly. Well, let me tell it first, and then I'll say what it is. So,
Okay.
I've gone on this dream that I will just call it a dream right now, but I've gone to this place and it's the same exact place every single time. And this started maybe 20 years ago, where I would have a block of dreams and I would go to the exact same place, the exact same street, the exact everything about the street, everything on the street is exactly the same every single time. The place that, like, when I'm navigating through there, everything about everything is exactly the same. And I would have that dream consistently for like 2 weeks straight, and then go 10 years without having the dream, and then have it again. And it's the exact same place, exactly as it was. And I'm able to navigate in there. It's not like I go through the exact same motions while I'm in the dream, but the location and the scenery and everything is exactly the same. So what is that? Is that
And that's a repeating dream, and it may be a future dream because I had the exact same similar repeating dreams that led up to my near-death drowning. I had them over and over, same sequence, not exactly the same motions, but same event over and over. And that's a repeating dream that may be a future dream. Um, that's when I was, it must have been like 5. I had a dream of this one block, and it seemed like Seattle, Washington, somewhere I've never been. Uh, and I kept looking through it for it throughout my life because I would have repeating dreams every 10 years of it. And finally, because I knew something dramatic would happen there, and it was one of the last places I lived when I was in Pennsylvania, and something big, life changing did happen there. And it was exactly as I saw it in the dream. I happened to be walking on, it was like a snowstorm on top, like a few feet up. And it was our block and it matched the exact. So keep looking for that because it might come out in real life, especially if it's repeating dream.
and
It's had
so
some deep significance.
so if it's a repeating dream, then it's not a lucid dream then.
No,
Is that okay? Okay.
but you might try to have a lucid dream about that place and see what happens.
Okay. And just by following the steps that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, imagine yourself in front of the place, or imagine yourself dreaming about the place. And see, it's those breathings that keep us awake enough too. Also in the dreams and lucid dreams, I show you how powerful the dreams are. If you are about to wake up out of the dream, or want to cement yourself in the dream, just take a deep breath, or look at your hands, and you'll stay in the dream. You'll stay awake in the dream. Sometimes people don't want to come out of their lucid dreams or their regular dreams. That works in regular dreams too. But that air power also gives you the full clarity of consciousness during their dream, and you're way more awake just because of the deep breathing. That's why you saw Darth Vader and all these other superheroes and villains doing the deep breathing, because it keeps them super awake. And then those breathings will naturally lead the person into doing like a weekly fast, so they can start to purify the inside of their physical body as they're developing their spiritual. They'll naturally want to take care of the physical too, so it could be a full balance. But
Okay. And I noticed you said about the squiggly lines in reading the marquee, like trying to read the marquee, because I find, and I think this is probably dreams too, then leaning on that side where you can't read anything, essentially.
no, it's hard to read. A newspaper, yes. A book,
Yeah, like the words, they're there, but when you try to focus on them, they're not
yes.
there. Okay.
Yes.
So that, and then also the running in quicksand, and then the flying away, because I've had that in the same, what I probably would consider a dream as well.
Okay.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, those are dreams. Now, see, those are also dream clues too. And see, with your repeating dream, just and see, sometimes we'll go through dreams almost like sleepwalking. We're not fully awake. That's where the breathings will help you to be more awake, more observant, more alert. And so a lot of our dreams are not fully understood because we have these lapses of consciousness where we drift for a few seconds or minutes in the dream, and it seems jumbled where there actually is a coherent road through it. We're just not fully conscious the whole way through. Those breathings will awaken everyone's not only regular conscious mind, but their subconscious, that air getting into the blood, especially if you sleep on the balcony or outside in the woods or something like that, a baseball field. You'll fully remember your dreams then.
Okay, so is it because I felt like some of that stuff may have been, but I guess not. It doesn't sound like any of that is astral traveling. So that's actually cool to find out that everything that I've been experiencing is on the dream side of this and not actually astral travel. Now, I do have one more example, and these are, I've been waiting to ask you about this one because this one happened since the last time we talked. I was in bed and I had my leg hanging off the bed, right? And I felt something like grab my leg. And there shouldn't be anything in here that could do that. But I felt something grab my leg. So I woke up and I'm sitting there and I kind of looking over the bed and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that was weird. So I'm gonna just stay up because I've heard abduction stories, all sorts of weird stuff. So I'm just gonna stay up. And no matter how hard I tried to stay up, I would like drift into I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it was dream place or if I don't know what state I was in, but I would go from being awake, and then within a half a second, I'm on this other side and I'm feeling this touching again. But I'm seeing myself as wake in the bed. Like I'm like nothing
Yes.
perspective wise is changing. But I
Yes.
can tell that I'm going like this one side to the other because the touching happens again, but I'm still perspective still shows me as being well. What is that, Eugene? Help me, man.
That's good. Well, it's dealing with your level of consciousness, but it's more dealing with the the division of consciousness or duality of consciousness. See, as you were in that half awake and half asleep state, your conscious mind was still dimly awake at the same time. And as your conscious mind was slowly going into a deeper sleep, and you could feel it, your subconscious mind, your dream mind, was slowly starting to wake up, about the same proportion too. And so you literally did feel something in the physical, probably touching your astral body, and you woke up feeling it. This is the same thing as like when a person's on the operating table, and the doctor, because of the anesthesia, they have an out of body. But in their out of body state, looking down at the doctor, sawing at the patient, the out of body person can feel the saw. It doesn't hurt him, but he can feel the movements back and forth. And so can you in your body if you decide to look up at the doctor from your physical. So the consciousness can switch back and forth, or it can be two separate consciousness, which is in reality what it is. And when we dream, we're really getting in touch and beginning to communicate non-verbally, because that's how our subconscious is not verbal, it's non-verbal. So you really interface with it non-verbally and through feelings, thoughts, and that control of emotion.
Wow. Okay, so that's a great explanation because it exactly how you explained it is how I felt, but it felt like the out of body experience, but I was still in my body and I'm still looking through my eyes. So I'm not like out looking at me. I'm still looking through my eyes, but I feel that drift back and forth. So that's interesting. So that considered a form of is astral travel? It's not like I'm searching to astral travel, but I just want to kind of define the things that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, that was the initial stages of an out of body. Yes. Okay. And along with that, because you had that's interesting. It's interesting because you had that without the paralysis. And is that always like that, or was that a one-time
That was a one-time thing. Never
thing?
happened like that before.
Okay. Okay. But that's good that you can get to that point, because that shows that you probably have the capacity with the breathings to breathe your way into an out of body or a lucid dream, or through a lucid dream to the out of body. Because if you can stay awake that, and see, it shows how sensitive our spirit and physical bodies are. Because it seems like that as you were in that in-between state, the thing that touched you grabbed at your astral body. See, like when during the paralysis, have you ever had that, been half awake, half asleep, been fully paralyzed?
I can't say that I have. No.
Okay. A lot of people do, and it's really freaky. That's when they've stayed awake long enough, or are just awake enough at the precipice of sleep. They're still dimly awake, maybe because of a background noise, or they're in the right position, or they're doing some breathings. But when people get into that paralyzed state, they begin to see and hear things that we would say are hallucinations. But in that in-between state, they're seeing with their spiritual eyes and feeling with their spiritual body, while also aware that they're laying in bed. So it's a super subtle shift, and it's a shift in the person's level of consciousness. One slight breathing, when that happens, could wake the person up a lot. In fact, if the person is paralyzed and they take a deep breath very slowly through their stomach, because you're too paralyzed to move anywhere else except maybe your pinky. But if you're paralyzed and need to get out of that state, take a deep breath and hold it, and you'll be able to pop loose from the paralyzation. But that paralyzation is the signal that you can have an out of body if you continue to stay calm and breathe your way through. You'll literally see your spirit body come out of the physical, and you can see it from the spirit body or from the physical, but you see and feel it float up, and you'll be laying down, and then it'll put you at the end or the side of the bed, just far away enough where it won't snap you back. You'll feel the pull of your physical body trying to pull you back spiritually, electromagnetically. It'll be trying to get you back in the body, because the spirit body is the human body's life source. But if you just lean softly to the opposite direction, you can pull away temporarily from the spirit body, from your physical, and then go about, walk through a wall, or fly into the sky. But that out of body is the real thing. Lucid dreaming is cool, but the out of body is where you want to be, because once you get to the out of body level, then you'll begin to have psychic experiences in the daytime, and you will be psychic 24/7. That's another exalted state where the person wants to be, where they're psychic all the time. And
so the lucid dreaming, I'm just going to give a crazy definition. Lucid dreaming is the land of make-believe, where anything is possible. You could do anything. You could be anything. Whereas the astral travel is like the alternate reality, almost like
the astral travel is our invisible reality that we can't see, but we can feel it, and sometimes hear it. But like you said, the lucid dreaming is a playland where you can fly, you can jump on a trampoline and go high in there and slowly come down like a flower. You can do anything in the lucid dream, and the only thing that limits you is the imagination in the lucid dream.
So let's move into this area, because so now that you've helped me understand that this incident, being touched, or when I'm feeling something grabbing me in that moment, that this is considered out of body essentially. So what is that place? What is that realm where I felt that touch then? What is that space?
That's the in-between. It's really a level of consciousness. Like the Journal of Sleep Disorders classifies sleep paralysis as a level of consciousness, and it is. But that zone, that in-between, that dead zone, or what in near-death they call the dark void, is really like the dressing room where you go from physical to spiritual body, where you transform from physical to spiritual. That's really what that is, or from physical to the dream world. But you want to get to that out of body, which we all have every night. We just don't remember them. But the breathings will get you there, and then knowing what to look for.
So what would then? Okay, so those two spaces share the same space, near death, the realm, and I know we've brushed this before, but kind of bringing it back to current day. The near death realm is the same as the astral realm, essentially. And so what I'm experiencing as far as being
wait.
Yeah.
Say that again. The near
So
death
the
realm?
near death, the realm that you enter into, or that you're almost like a waiting room, purgatory sort of thing, where you're in this waiting place for near death before you come back to your body. That's the same place as the astral place, right?
You're asking me if the same thing is in the near death that's in the astral?
Yeah, if it shares the same realm, if it shares the same space.
If it does. You're asking me if it does?
If it does. So the place you go to when you're experiencing near death, that space, is that the same space as the astral space? Like where I was experiencing the touching?
No. There's like the astral realms have several levels. The near death is a spiritual out of body, but an atheist can have a regular, real out of body. So the out of body world is kind of inside of the higher spiritual realm. Now, it shows because you can't get from an out of body to a near death, although the near death is an out of body. They're two different realms, and you have more independent will in the near death. It's filled with that ecstasy and love of God. In the out of body, you can be walking down a street in your hometown, not realizing that you're asleep, talking to people, and they'll act like they don't even see you because they can't, because you're invisible. But it's you. The person thinks that they're in the real world. So you can have an out of body where you think you're dreaming, or you think you're in real life, and you see people ignoring you. A lot of people have had that, where they say hi to someone in a dream. They think it's in real life, but they're really dreaming and saying hi to someone. And in real life, they're somewhere in real life, but invisibly saying hi. It's a tripped out thing. But one leads to the other. You get better at dreams, then you'll understand and start to have lucid dreams. And then lucid dreams will change. You'll have a lucid dreams that will take you into an out of body. But the near death, it's a higher realm. That's why, because it's not so much that the out of body is in a different realm, because they're all interpenetrate each other, but the level of consciousness of the out of body is lower than the level of consciousness for the near death, where you're universally conscious. You're conscious of everything.
All right, stop right there, Eugene. We're going to go ahead and get ready to go into this break and come back after this break, speaking more about near-death experiences. We need to clarify this.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Rob.
All right, we're clear. Eugene, we'll go into break. We're off camera for the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Right on time. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 as we come back with our guest Eugene Braxton, getting into a bunch of deep conversation tonight. We're talking near-death experiences, lucid dreaming, and astral travel. As we have about 20 seconds before we come back from radio. Yes, this is the hour where questions will be taken and marked, and we would appreciate it. Put it in all caps, and we'll definitely go ahead and get these questions answered. Thanks for your support, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. And then earlier in the show, Wes Decker, as we get ready to come back right now. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. Coming back with our guest, Eugene Braxton, America's most experienced mystic. We're talking about astral travel. We're talking about near-death experience. We're talking about lucid dreaming and everything, how it relates to consciousness, right? If you guys are on social media, make sure you go ahead and give us a follow. X, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Radio Show. We would totally appreciate that as we go ahead and get back into the conversation here. So, Eugene, we were at the break about to jump into near-death experience because I asked you, the question I had asked was, is this out-of-body experience realm the same as the near-death experience, the same place? I call it a realm, but it's almost like a waiting room, right? Where you are temporarily at before you go to that next stage, like you spoke earlier. But you kind of elaborated on that and said that near-death experience is like a higher experience.
Yeah,
so it's talking about that.
Yeah, they're both the astral realm, but one's a higher realm. The near-death is in a higher astral realm or a level of consciousness than the regular out-of-body, which is primarily involved with the earth plane and maybe slightly outside the earth plane. But they have similarities. Like you can be one with the universe. You can have that feeling of one with the universe in and out of body, but not like the near-death. However, you can have that universal feeling through a powerful spiritual dream. And dreams are the doorway to all of those things. You can go from a regular dream, to the out-of-body. And then once you start having the out-of-body, other experiences will occur because you'll be psychic in the day and nighttime. And then you'll become occurrence prone and be forced to experience more and more psychic experiences like I did when I was 11. But the breathings is the key, and then the dreams. That'll open up everything else. And in the out-of-body, you realize that there's an invisible, real reality. But in the near-death out-of-body, because it's the bigger sister, then you're one with the universe. Then the lights that you see do have an effect on you. In the dreams, the white light can have a powerful effect on you, but in the near-death, any color can have an effect on you. And the colors have sounds too, and they move. You can see the colors. It's a deep thing. But yeah, they're both in the same realm, but the realm has divisions in it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great explanation as well. And let me ask you this. So, and I think I brought this analogy up to you about a year ago last time we talked, but the near-death experience, the place that higher realm that's higher than the base realm, right? So there's a movie called Flatliners, right? You got Flatliners, and then you have Ghost, where they kind of depict what that realm is. So that realm has things in it, right? Like
Yes,
spirits, or I don't know if you call them spirits, but just I don't know. What would you call those things in there?
what things? Like
the energies. Like if you've seen Flatliners and then you've seen Ghosts, the things that exist in there. Like when you get into that realm, there are already other like past lives, maybe, or spirit. I guess I call them spirits that are in that realm already. Like
yes. Yeah, in like Ghost is a good example because the effects were good, and so was Flatliners. Like with those beings in Ghost, uh, it was a combination, and it could be either one too. But the ones in Ghost was a combination of the lower tortured spirits, um, and also it'll come back to me. But it's a combination of two things, and one is the low in that, and the writers and stuff are kind of ahead of the scientists in the movie people. Some of their imagination, but in Ghost, that was a combination of the real life dead zone or lower realm entities that was enhanced by the fear that they had. And that was primal fear, the opposite of primal ecstasy, which is in the near death. So that was what they experienced, was a combination of the entities that we usually don't see, but because of his death, he did see it, and he was still in the lower realm, physio-spiritually, even emotionally, because of the trauma of death. But it was a combination of his fear that enhanced it, because a lot of times, if you stand up or have no emotion to those things, they can recede back and disappear, or just disappear right in front of you. The fear and the controlling of emotions is super important. But that's what I think that was.
So an important, and I'm talking this through because I felt I had something grab me in this realm, right? And so when we talk about places like Flatliners, we talk about places like Ghosts, where they share these same realms with near death, and they're all technically in the same realm, just different levels. That I'm trying to see, like, what type of things would exist in those realms, and what would have been the thing that grabbed my leg, right? And then what does that mean? Is that one of those energies in there? What could that have been in that realm that would have grabbed me in that way? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't sound like good news, based on the conversation we're having here.
There's a dark side to everything, and there's a dark side of spirituality. And these usually invisible, malevolent beings are obsessed with humans, especially the younger the better for them. And they have a particular interest in our beliefs in religion and of God, life after death, and there's one more third thing that will come back. But there are malevolent, negative energies that are out there, and depending on the person's frame of mind, will they either attract to the person, or the person might fall into their lair. That's why the mental state of the person who does these mystical initiations has to be pristine. Like, their thinking has to be high. Their actions in real life have to be good. The bad criminal will have a hell of a time in those realms because their mind is already pretty messed up. The cleaner mind you have, a lot of times that's the level you'll attract when you get down there, or else those beings will not come near you. However, just like in your case, and I've had, and other people probably in the chat, I think I even saw it in the chat once, I've been laying asleep on a mattress and felt something crawling in on the other side of the mattress. And it was there. You could feel the weight and everything. And then when you turn and look, nothing's there. Although you knew you could feel. That's kind of like where the astral shell was feeling it. It's but that separation is what the person wants. They want to, with the breathings, have that out-of-body experience, and then you'll automatically know a lot of things. But through those experiences, month after month, and practice and trial and experimentation, you'll begin to know that stuff in and out, especially if you add some study with that so you can understand what's happening. But there's a lot that happens when we go to sleep. More that really happens in this world. And they say that when a person dreams and then they wake up, and then later that night they go back to sleep, they're really just re-entering that extended dream. And sometimes a person may have dreams of fancy or ambition, you know, the dreaming about the future job or the girl that they like. But it's an interesting thing. Dreams is a world in itself. And then lucid dreams is a part of that. And then the out of bodies is a stage. And then after the out of bodies, you get to the UFOs, the near deaths, the haunted houses, and all the rest. But it's a tripped out thing. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I feel comfortable with the lucid dreaming part. You know, I'm okay with that because it sounds I can control that. It sounds like, you know, it's a place where I can go and just have a ball, do all these crazy things, and then come back. But this astral piece where there is this realm that's right there, because, you know, I've had the picture of the shadow person. So like for me, that realm is present and known for me. I know it's right there because we had a picture of shadow person. And I don't feel like I'm saying this in the moment now, but I really don't feel like the touching was tied to that, though it could be. But I think that is still the same realm, right? Where that shadow person would exist. That's the same realm we're talking about, right? As far as that astral realm.
Definitely the shadow people, yes. Now, see, because the astral realm is so close to ours, it's with the dreams, it's with the sleep, you would expect the lower entities of that realm to be closer to the dream states than the out of bodies. And the lucid dreams, where you really don't see them at all, unless it's a negative lucid dream, really a negative lucid dream is actually a nightmare. But the experience, and that's what the person wants. They want to have the experience of all these things. And you start with the dreams. That'll lead you to the breathing, so you can extend how long you are awake in the dream, because you'll learn a lot more. Probably half of our dreams we don't remember. But the breathing, and if you add a crystal or a silver ring or bracelet on, you'll be crystal clear in the dream and can get the entire scope of what has happened, if anything is. Because a lot of dreams are just normal. We're just walking around somewhere. But yes.
Let me ask you this. So when I explained earlier how, and you explained to me what that was, where I was like, okay, I'm like going this way. I'm dipping in and out. I'm dipping from this side to this side. I'm in the astral. I'm not. I'm in. So do you think that I was actually, by me trying to consciously keep myself in the what we call reality on this side, that I stopped myself from fully leaving and having a full out-of-body experience at that point? Do you think that had an effect on it, me trying to keep myself awake, saying, okay, this thing's touched me, whatever it is, let me try to stay awake? Do you think that action kept me from fully having that out-of-body experience?
Yes. And
okay.
Also, Rob, and this is tied in with it, the entities that we talked about who always come around when our levels of consciousness are at their lowest, when we're asleep, half awake, drowsy, dead tired. It's said that one of the things that they seek out the humans for is like the extraction of the human's soul energy. And this can be easily done and best done, because it's done invisibly, by extracting the soul energy out of the human bodies, out of the spirit body of the human, while the human is asleep. There's a thing called in the Vatican or in religious things called soul interception, where at the moment of death, malevolent spirits can swoop in before the out-of-body transfer is complete. Transformation from physical to spiritual is complete. They theorize that the malevolent spirit can swoop in, and you can't really inhabit someone's spirit like that. It's just, you cannot do it. That's unique into them. And even with the clown's permission, you're not going to be able to get into the demon spirit's not going to be able to get into the person's body and walk around as that person. But they can extract some of the soul energy out of it. And that when that being was touching you, by touching your leg, your astral leg, and you felt it, physio-spiritual, you felt it in both physical and spiritual, because your body was awake too, not just your dual consciousness. And so you know it was real, but invisible, and it happened in the spiritual, but you felt it. Because we can feel someone just, we could be fast asleep and we can just feel someone touch us and we wake up. So that's what really that was. Something was reaching out to you in spiritual form. You felt it and moved. And seconds before the person thinks, I'm going to move, the thing flies away, because they're about 3 seconds ahead of us in thinking. Like they know, they can see what we're thinking, because in that realm you can see anything just by focusing on, that. Whew.
So, and I appreciate that. So say I didn't do that. Say I didn't consciously try to keep myself conscious. So say I fully slipped into this realm. I fully moved over into this realm in that incident, and I'm now out of body, and I'm in that realm, moving around or whatever you do when you're in that realm. Is there? If I'm in the room, I would assume I could get right back to where I'm at. My body's sitting right there, and I see my body. Obviously, I know my body's right there. But if I travel out somewhere further, to somewhere, a location that I'm unfamiliar with, will I find my way back to my body every time? And then kind of how does that work, and what's the process with that?
Yeah, you'll find yourself, you'll fly back into your body just by thinking about it or wanting to be there. Like if you're in a dream or you're in that realm, you see a bear or something frightening, you say, I got to get out of here. You'll flip back into your body. That's why when I was falling, the extreme emotion popped me awake back into my body. And the spirit body has a protection of its own too, that anything that becomes too much for it, when you're in out-of-body form, you'll pop back into reality. And many times think it was just a dream. But through experience and practice, sometimes you'll be practicing, doing your breathings, and you might just have an out-of-body. It's that regular practice, doing those breathings, and start with the fastings, and on 30 days later, you'll be naturally doing them like you would do push-ups, and something will change. But it starts with those breathings. It's free. You don't have to pay anyone. Just start doing the breathings at night, the nightly breathings. Try 3 at the first time. Try 3 if you don't do them tonight. And we're going to do an experiment before we go, where I'm going to show you about the mind and how it works. And we can do that whenever you're ready. But it's an interesting thing, the mind. And when you have those dreams, those lucid dreams out of bodies, you're really connecting and communicating with your invisible soul self. And it speaks non-verbally. And when you're in his world, you can't talk to it. You have to think thoughts and emotions and what you can see and perceive. But the more you become, the more you communicate with that dual side of yourself, the more integrated you'll become until both sides are working together, one at night, one at day. And you can have your subconscious self go do things for you, and it will, faithfully. It would do them as though you were doing it for someone else. So it's all about cementing ourselves with our higher self so we can become the full person that our parents wanted us and grandparents wanted us to be. And when you put God in it, you accelerate even further and get to a higher realm without the distressing things too. These beings at night, if they can tell if you have a spiritual God figure in your life. And if you do, they avert away. Just like those vampire, when you put up the cross, they are out. If they see or you call upon, or they think that you have a belief, because they know that your belief is true, but they don't know if you believe it. But if you show them, they're gone. They're gone.
Okay, so let me ask you this step further. So in that realm, you say you can snap back, like in the moment you wake up, you just boom, snap back. Okay, so if I'm feeling this touching coming from the astral realm, and there's other things there like shadow people like that I have pictures of that everyone's seen. So if there are things there and they can physically affect you, they can touch you, feel you, do you ever run the risk while being in that astral realm of having some sort of conflict maybe, or maybe something that might affect you in your waking life, as far as maybe your astral self doesn't get to come back, or because of something that occurs in that astral realm, because they have the ability to physically affect you, physically affect your astral body? Could they physically do something to you in the astral realm that would prevent you from getting back to your body?
No, they cannot prevent you from getting back to your own body, because you're simultaneously connected to it. The you out in the astral body form is the real you, and you're physio-spiritually connected, because the body is physical, you're spiritual, and if anything even comes close to harming either one, and it's hard to harm the spiritual, but anything even threatens, like suppose you were in out-of-body form and someone came into your room, and you would sense, you would automatically know and sense it. You could see them coming up the steps. You would pop back in your body with enough time to get your thing out and take care of them. So there's an overwatcher, and the scientists that I work with in the near-death didn't tell the public about this, but they were concerned, and so was I, about an entity that they called the controller, who roamed the paranormal corridors at will, doing what it or he wanted. And they didn't want to check it out, and maybe even weren't allowed to check it out, but I checked it out myself, and it is what I had surmised it would be. So that's a lot of deep stuff going on there. And for each out-of-body you have, the cosmic residue from being in that cosmic environment you bring back with you, and it enhances you, usually in the form of psychic powers, but also increased health, immediate knowledge, and things like that. And then when you add little things like the breathings, the fastings, the silver, the quartz, it'll expand it exponentially. Like I was at a point in my 30s where I wanted to get a lot of psychic energy, psychic power. So I was wearing the quartz and the silver and all that. And I had an idea after an extremely haunted house incident, which I got on film. I went back to the house and drained it of its electromagnetic energy on purpose. And the next year, well, that's when I started with the near-death research with that scientist. And Son did really good too. He was at the house too. But I went back to purposely drain it, and then it exploded. So I was always back then looking for a warehouse of psychic energy that I could harness to explode, because I was younger then. Now I don't have to do that now. But there's always ways you can amplify your psychic abilities or your psychic capacity too. And there's, yeah.
Give me a quick one-word answer, because we got about 30 seconds to break. So is it possible that the touch that I felt, could it be someone else astral traveling, another person?
More likely than not, it was someone from the astral environment than someone in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was reaching out to your physical body, your spiritual body, thinking that you were asleep, but you were still partially awake. And those levels of consciousness are so delicate that you can. We'll explain this.
Okay, you're great. Appreciate that, Eugene Braxton. We're coming right back right after this break with more conversation. Eugene's going to show us a couple things, and we're going to go ahead and get into your questions. So do not go anywhere. Make sure you're here when we get back on the After Hours radio show on Spaced Out Radio.
Woo!
All right, we are clear. Okay, we're on.
How do you
5 minutes?
How do you think we're doing, Rob?
Oh, we're doing awesome. We're
Okay.
doing awesome. It's exactly where I wanted to take it. I only want to start with the lucid dreaming, and then kind of move into this because this is the heavier part of it, right? This physical experience that I had, and I didn't think about it ahead of time. I'm just as we're talking, I'm like, wait, I did have that experience recently where something physically grabbed me. So it actually played right into what we're talking about. So it's actually awesome.
Okay.
Then I'm getting the answers that I need for that because it's really something that concerns me as we're talking about it.
What was I going to say? When we get back, I have about 8 questions, easy yes or no, like psychic questions that I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
That, like the falling, flying dreams and that kind of thing.
Okay.
If I can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And then the thing you wanted to show the audience.
Yes, the experiment.
Yes. So you want to do that right afterwards?
Okay.
After the questions? Or
we could do it whenever you want.
No, this is for you. However you would like to do it. Which one would you?
Why don't we do it first? Because it only take like a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then once we do the questions, or you do ask me the questions, then we'll present the audience questions.
Okay, good, Rob. Yeah, in fact, I actually wanted to know, was there any more to your dream besides that, or did you just wake up or shake it off? Or
With the touching incident?
Yeah, because that's interesting.
Yeah, it was so weird too, because I didn't allow more to come to it because it was a real touch and it was very concerning to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm in bed and I'm awake and I'm looking down the bed like this, and I'm in the waking reality world, and I'm like, I need to stay here because that was too scary, right? And so as I'm sitting here in the waking world, I can't help but drift back over. Like it's weird. It's like, you know how you can doze off sometimes? It was not like dozing off because I was fully eyes open woke at the time. And I literally, like, my consciousness kind of moved over there. It was like I'm still me in the waking world, in reality, but then my consciousness took me over here, and then I would feel the touching again, and then I would have to almost like bring my consciousness back. It's I know it sounds wild to explain, but
it sounds fully realistic and truthful. Yeah, because people don't talk like that unless they've had it happen. Like when you said my conscience just looked over here, and that's how it does too. Because you can be like face down in the pillow and you hear something and still see it. That was your spiritual vision looking, like because they have the spherical consciousness where in that out-of-body state you can see 360 degrees just by thinking about that area. You can see what's there. And in the same ways, if you were laying down in bed and were in that same state and said, I wonder where my girlfriend is now, you'd be able to see her in your mind's eye. Like, which is what remote viewing is.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
It was on. Oh man, it was so weird. I never felt that in my life ever.
When was this?
This was probably a month ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was just fairly recently.
Okay.
And ever since it happened, I've just been like, because man.
But it was real enough for you to get up, make a change, stay up for a while, and get it away from your mind.
Yeah, it was physical touch. Okay, wait.
Yes.
I'm
waiting. Well, you felt it.
Yes. I'm waiting. Let me look over there. Okay, there's nothing there. That was a real touch. Let me stay woke. And then as I'm staying woke, like my consciousness took me back to that whatever where I had that touch, and I had to touch again, but I'm still right here looking around the room. Nothing has changed. So it's like, what did I slip into? You know what I mean? And I've dozed off before, and it's not dozing off.
Yeah.
It's
It was like it was like a division of consciousness, you know, where really your subconscious was waking up, probably right as the thing was there, but your consciousness hadn't fully dimmed down yet. You were still in between.
Think about dimension, think about reality, and then this other dimension, and there's a line going right through me down the middle. And so I'm here because I'm in the reality, but it slipped me over into the dimension, but I'm still awake in that moment. Like I'm back and forth shifting like this.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the best way I've been able to explain it. But
that's a good example and a good explanation, because that the same guy on this operating table has that same split in consciousness and can go back and forth like that, depending on where they put their thinking, where their focus of thought is.
We're coming back right now.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. The After Hours radio show. We're already almost at the end of this interview, which is insane, with our guest here, Eugene Braxton, as he graciously gives us the time to talk about astral travel, lucid dreams, near death, the other side, the other realm. We're getting into it. You guys don't go anywhere. Make sure you give us a like on this video. Do what you got to do. Just hit the little button. It's a like button. Show us that you love us. As we get back into the conversation. So, Eugene, I want to hand it over to you because I know that you stated you wanted to show the audience something, and this is the time to do that. So I'll kick back while you do it.
Okay, we're going to have like a little audience experiment. And this experiment shows, especially if you do it regularly, shows how you can learn to listen to and communicate with your higher self, your spiritual self, which is awake right now and waiting to help you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to think of one number. We're going to do this 3 times. I'm going to think of one number right now. Now, I'm already thinking about it, and I'm picturing it in my mind. This is also a good way to see if you're a sender or a receiver, especially when you practice with someone else. So I'm picturing a number in my mind, and without thinking about it, just guess or put in the chat it's between 1 and 10. I'm thinking about the number. I'm seeing it in my mind, and I'm sending it to you. And then, Rob, without thinking about any number, just blurt out any number that comes to mind. Without thinking.
Right now? You want to do it right now?
Yes.
7.
No. You get 3 guesses. Try again.
2.
No. Don't think. Just say anything.
3. Yeah, I'm thinking first.
Well, wait. What did you say?
3.
It was 3.
Yeah.
Now, see, you did the classic double thought, where just like at the carnival, where the guy's going to win something for his girlfriend, and there's a red balloon and a blue balloon, and usually the first thought is right, but the person's second thought and picks the blue one, and it was really the red. The first thought is usually right. Sometimes you can go on first thought. Sometimes you have to go on second thought, depending on the scene. But just when you blurt it out, then it lets the higher mind the higher mind already knows it. You're just letting it speak instead of you. Because the conscious mind will double think and yeah.
So, and that's what I was doing. And I think I could have probably executed that better by being just in a like meditative mindset and then allowing the number to just come out. I think if I'd have done it that way, that would have achieved that goal. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
So, wait, I got 2 more numbers. And okay, I'm thinking about the second number now. I'm looking at it. I'm picturing it in my mind. And everyone put in the chat, what do you think the second number is? Just don't even guess, because there is no wrong number. Just automatically write down a number that you think it is, or that you feel it is. And I'm looking at it. I'm sending it without thinking. Just okay, Rob, what number do you think it is, or just would you be willing to blurt out?
I just close my eyes and I rub my fingers on my keyboard and just hit a number. I'm going with this number I put in the chat, which is the number 4.
It was 5.
Oh, okay.
So you're close. And sometimes the misses show you what feeling to watch out for. But you were close. And you were so close that you don't even need a second chance. Because usually once you get that close, you start getting them. All right, I'm thinking of this number. And also I'll add a color to the number. I'm going to add the color to the number. And I'm seeing the number now. And without thinking, just say any number between 1 and 10. Let your higher self. Go ahead.
8.
It's 8.
Boom. Oh my.
See? It's and the subconscious is quick to learn, especially when you communicate back and forth with it, when your conscious mind talks to it non-verbally. And then you can see how it works and how it thinks. And it thinks without thinking. It automatically knows. All you got to do is let it talk.
Wow.
So you basically got 2 of those 3. Like cold, you know.
You blew my mind with that, Eugene.
That's
blew my mind, man.
Me and son used to do that when he was 4, and that was 30 years ago. But you practice that stuff, and it's amazing how the mind is. Maybe in another show we'll talk about the mind and how to get it to work for you, and remote viewing and all that.
Yeah, that would be awesome, dude. You just, man, that and it's awesome you did that, because we always talk about having the abilities that we have that need to be unlocked, and then to be able to display what you just did right there is pretty mind-blowing, because if you can consistently have results like that, then you have unlocked that thing. And then if you've shown people, oh man, you're doing great work here, Eugene. Great work. So yeah, okay, so let's you said you have some questions for me, so I'll go ahead and take those, and we have some audience questions to get you as well.
Okay, and it's just like a little psychic capacity test, and the audience can do it too with themselves or in the chat. And they're just 8 questions to kind of gauge. They're not neither right nor wrong, to kind of gauge the person's psychic potential or capacity. They're normal yes and no questions. Like the first one: are you right or left-handed or both? Would you say?
Right.
Okay. Do you dream in color?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had a falling or flying dream?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Which one? Or both? Because they're both basically this.
Mainly flying. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Flying's a good one.
I've had falling, but when I had the falling dream, I literally hit the floor because I fell off my bed.
Yeah. Yes. I hate that. Yeah, those flying dreams are deep. Okay. Have you ever been walking, especially as a kid, heard someone call your name, you turn around and there's no one in sight?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And see, that kind of connects with that feeling of that thing touching you. Have you ever been drifting off to sleep and heard music or voices as you fell asleep? Or it's similar to that one, but that happens too.
Say that again. Have you ever
heard? See, hearing is the first psychic activation, and a person will begin to hear things, especially while going to sleep, in their ears. That's one of the first senses to activate. So, but that hearing that you did when you were a kid, that counts fully too, even more so.
Well, here's the wild thing. I have. I'll show you right here, right now. This is what, and this is no BS. These right here, these earbuds. I will put these in my ears when I go to sleep and listen to music while I go to sleep, because I'm a musician. So that's crazy, Eugene. Okay, let's keep it coming.
What's another one? I guess that's about it for now until I can think of some more. But yeah, it's good. It's fun developing that psychic self, your inner self, and getting to know it. It'll help you a lot. And games like that, or you can get a deck of cards and first start with the colors, red or black, and play that. You'll see how fast you get used to it, and you can just feel which number it is from repetitive practice. And you'll get so good that, just like me and son, you'll soon be calling out the numbers from the deck, and with the right color too. 3 of red, 5 black. It's amazing, but that psychic development.
Look, and this may be unrelated, and like I said, the music thing. Technically, I sleep, and I as a kid I couldn't sleep without music. I'd have my stereo on, kind of low, music playing in the background as I go to sleep. Today, as an adult, I'll put on the earbuds so I don't affect anyone else. I'll listen to whatever, and then the red and black, no BS. When I go to the casino, I play video roulette, and I figured out a way to win on red and black. I only play red and black, or I play odd or even, or even or odd numbers, right? I'll play either one of those, but I'm always playing red or black. And I had figured out a little pattern to where I was like winning every time. Like I was able to know, okay, we had this many reds, let's go black. Okay, there's so many blacks. Okay, the last few it was red, black. Okay, let's go red. So I've had an element of that. So it's weird that you say that too. That's crazy.
It's good to know how your mind thinks and works, and of course your body, but especially how your mind thinks, because there's a whole half of it that we have to use, and it's willing and waiting and listening for us to just tell it what to do. And it's the higher real you that will live on after death. And in the Bible it says, if the two of you ask for anything in my name, it will be given. And by the two of you, God meant husband and wife and business partner, but he also meant your conscious and subconscious mind. If the two of you agree on touching anything in this world, it will be given to you by the Father who is in heaven. So it's and then you can get really whatever you want, and fast too, when you have both the conscious and subconscious working on getting that thing. It literally comes to you. Literally. But by that time you won't want things. You'll be interested in higher aspirations and ideals.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that, because you actually have blown my mind tonight here, Eugene. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't. Okay. But let me ask you a few questions here, get the audience questions out the way. Let's see. Let's grab Wes Decker saying, I have repeated dreams that seem to take place in malls or airports or huge, large structures. I am always floating in these dreams. I've heard others describe this too. Any insights?
A lot depends on what happens in the dream and what kind of sense of emotional sense or feeling you got when you were in the dream. It's mainly from your perspective, and that's good you were silently observing it without little emotion, because then you can see the reality of the dream. And if they're repeating dreams, try to notice it in more detail, and try to let yourself feel. That's why sometimes no vision is better, because then you can feel everything that happens. Just like this guy right here this guy in the picture that's from my book. He has no eyes because he's seeing with his mind eye. And sometimes the conscious eyes interfere with our spiritual vision. But yeah, I would, whatever feeling you got coming from that, I would go with that, because your true feelings will always be right.
All right. And we got Aloha Dave real quick, showing love. Thanks for your support, Aloha Dave. Fascinating conversation tonight. Thanks, Eugene. And I hope you'll come back on SOR soon. Of course he will. We're going to have him. We're going to set something up right after this show. So awesome stuff. Thanks for the support, Aloha Dave. And next question coming up is, let's see. Let me grab one. Blue Riders DG. I've heard of people astral traveling and not coming back to buy. Well, we talked about that. Let me grab it. He has another one in here. Let me grab this one. Okay. Yeah, this one here. Can people astral travel to a different time in history, past or future? And if so, can the people living during that time period sense the astral traveler's presence?
It would seem like they could. If the astral traveler was coming from the future, it would seem like they could, especially if they were in a relaxed state, on a bus, sitting on a hill, sitting in a rocking chair, something like that. And it depends on what kind of pressure the astral traveler used. To do it with physical pressure, like to try and knock something over, it would be easy to do it with just mental thought, or connecting, calling out to the person in astral form. They could hear that while they're awake. And people should also practice with their boyfriends and girlfriends astral traveling or meeting each other at a planned place in a dream. That's an interesting thing too.
All right, awesome stuff. And just everybody, I think I got enough questions. I can't, so don't submit any more if possible. Let me see. Okay. All right. So Hillbilly Herb is asking now, if you can affect reality through lucid dreaming, would that be witchcraft?
No, because it's supernatural. It's natural to dream, and anything you do in the dream wouldn't be considered witchcraft. I mean, witches try to use dreams to accomplish their ends, but anything that is natural is not considered witchcraft. The witch might say it's witchcraft, but in reality, it's a natural functioning of the senses that we rarely use, but we're going to start using them more. Which seemed like witchcraft at one time is now science now, and what seems like psychic voodoo or whatever now, in 80 years from now will be reality. What we know is, so it depends on your thinking.
All
but
right.
I wouldn't call it, no, it's too natural to be witchcraft.
All right. We got CJ Berry. Shout out CJ Berry asking, do you have insight on seeing someone's palm severely burned in a dream?
That doesn't sound good. It depends on if it was a repeating dream, but and the details of the dream or the emotional state of the dream. But I would definitely, if I was a person, watch where their hands go. Because it could be a possible future dream. It depends on the future dreams are usually short in duration and emotionally impactful.
All right. We got CT, the guitar guy 85 asking, I have a question. I've had a recurring theme over years of tornadoes in a dream. It's not a repeating dream, but a theme. Any thoughts?
I mean, it could be, the tornado could be a symbolic for something like trouble brewing ahead, or a whirlpool in your life or in someone else's life. Reoccurring theme, tornadoes. And I mean, the weather has increased, so that doesn't seem too wild to have dreams of tornadoes. They might be future dreams or psychic dreams of some kind of warning. But dreams are super interesting. You can also tell yourself one night, I want to know what that dream I had meant, and repeat that over and over while you're doing those breathings, and the answer will come in time. You can ask yourself anything and get the answer that night if you do the steps properly.
All right. We got Cosmic Joe Chronicles asking, how many dimensions are there between the conscious body and astral realm?
That's a really good question. At least 3. A lot depends on the person's level of consciousness, because there's always what I call a subset. There's always a reality behind the reality. Like the subset of dreaming, the subset of flying is that we're dreaming. The subset of an out of body is that we're really in bed, sleeping. So although those realities are real too, but really about 3 between conscious body and astral realm.
All right. And the Andromedan is asking question, what do the guests know about parallel realities or alternative realities?
And yeah, that's like a thing of the mental. And a lot depends on the person's perceptions and desires and beliefs. But there's no doubt that there could be different universes, because realities is just really a level of consciousness, how consciously aware you are of something. Like we've had high spiritual experiences, but our level of consciousness was not at the same height as the experience was. Our conscious awareness was not at the same level of attainment that the experience happened in. But you can raise the level of consciousness in a few good ways. Some of that we already talked about. The breathing's being the main one. But yeah, there are definitely parallel realities. Mm-hmm.
All right. And we have Presidential Zaddy asking, I have the same lucid dream at the same location and I take off flying every time. Can I fly in real life? I feel like it's my mission.
Yes, you can. You can actually fly. I should have given you a picture, but the person can fly in real life, fully conscious, but you'll be invisible, which in a lot of cases is even better. There's been a thing where prisoners who were in there for life got a book from the library about out-of-body experiences, and he practiced it and was able to, at night, come out of his body, get this combination of the safe, and maybe in the future he went and robbed the bank or whatever. But you can fly in real life by waking up in an out-of-body state. Like, say you program yourself to have a dream that you're flying. You wake up in the dream. Once you realize it's a dream, you will super wake up either in the dream, which would then bring it down to a lucid dream, or you would wake up in reality, but invisible. And then you can fly through the real. It may, when you wake up, it may seem like it was a super vivid dream, unless you experiment with the jumping up and down and zooming to one place and stuff like that. In and out of, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's funny that he asked that, because I've had dreams where the dream, you couldn't tell me it wasn't real life. And in the dream, because I'm thinking it's real life, I'm telling people that I can fly, and then I'm demonstrating it like right there in front of us. So it's funny that he asked the question, that you gave that explanation, but that's awesome. So we got about 2 minutes left. So let me get to this other question here, which is from the Andromedan, who's asking, what do they see in the NDE, in that realm?
They see, well, initially, the first thing someone sees is their dead body, 8 to 10 feet from them. And they usually see it from an upward perspective, because the spirit body floats up. It takes about 15 to 25 seconds to come out of your body and regain consciousness after death. So the first thing they usually notice is, the first thing you really see is your spirit body down there, your physical body down there dead. Then you realize that, oh shit, I just died. And you see the truck that hit you, or the bottle of pills that you took, and you say, and then you realize, I died, but I'm still alive. That I am still Eugene, I still have my original personality, and that was me. And then because of that level of consciousness where you realize, that realization that you had survived death, the scene will change as it did with me. But the first realization you see is your dead body. And the first thing I saw before I saw my dead body was my material, my physical, my spiritual body rematerializing in a teeming essence, like the fizz of a soda pop, or like in the Star Trek thing. The molecules came together until it formed an invisibly solid duplicate of my spirit body, and that was me. So yeah, that's the first thing you see. Then you can look around the world, and it's alive on its own. It's moving, and you can interface with it too. But you also have your own free will. That's
all right,
neat.
you got like 30 seconds. Let everybody know where they can find you.
The best place to find me is maybe Facebook. I'm going to get back on Twitter soon, and then go to my website, where you can get the book, and it's packed with full information on all that stuff. And the website is, if you put in Eugene Braxton at wix.com, it'll take you to the website. And the website is also on my Facebook page too.
All right. Well, Eugene, I appreciate you coming in. You already know, awesome conversation. I always appreciate you. We're going to set up the next one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back hour number 3 with Steve Stockton and my guy Drew Banker with the After Hours wrap up. See you in a minute.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, we're out. Eugene, I'll get in contact with you. We got to play the commercial right now.
All right, Rob.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks for that.
All right, everybody. All right. We are back. Spaced Out Radio, After Hours Radio Show, after hour number 3. We are coming back from radio break here in about 10 seconds. So let's get it in. Let's get her done. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. After hour number 3, we want to thank our guests, first of all, Eugene Braxton, who joined us hours 1 and 2. If you missed any of that conversation, believe me, you want to go ahead and hop in our archives, youtube.com/@spacedoutradio, where you can go ahead and catch up on everything that you missed as we go ahead and get ready to jump into the show. Hour 3, here we go. And we're going to start this off with our guy, the guy that we are just so blessed to have as a part of the After Hours Radio Show, none other than Steve Stockton. Tales Untold, Missing Persons Mysteries. Let's go.
Welcome to Tales Untold and Missing Persons Mysteries on Spaced Out Radio's After Hours. My name is Steve Stockton, and I'm here to take you on a journey of mysteries, legends, and true stories. Come, join me on this strange adventure of Tales Untold and Missing Person Mysteries. Unexplained, invisible, or cloaked being / humanoid. When I was about 5 years old, I was playing by the edge of the woods behind my grandmother's house. I played there often, and my grandmother just kept an eye on me from the kitchen or living room because the house had huge windows that faced the woods. She would come out every once in a while just to see what I was up to. I was obsessed with digging in the dirt and collecting unusual rocks and arrowheads that littered the land where my grandmother lived. I should mention this is Midwest Illinois, not too far from Cahokia Mounds, so finding arrowheads was actually not that uncommon. Anyway, that day, I remember picking out a spot to dig. I'd been out there for quite a while because I remember I had a pretty decent-sized hole going when something caught my eye up in the tree that I was next to. I almost don't know how to explain it, but it looked like almost a heat wave coming off the branch of the tree. It was fall. I remember this because I had my pink jacket on and remember thinking my mom was going to be pissed because I had dirt around the bottom of the arms from digging. I also remember there being a lot of leaves on the ground. Anyway, I'm staring at this heat wave and realize it has a human shape. So here I am, 5 years old, and wondering why there's an invisible man in the tree. I remember feeling scared but unsure what to do. Then it started moving and making a faint clicking sound. This is about the time that I decided that I was not supposed to be seeing this, and I hightailed it back to the house. My grandmother saw I was pretty shaken, and I remember telling her that I just saw an angel. In my 5-year-old mind, I didn't know what else it could be. I'd never heard of aliens or ghosts or monsters, so to me it had to be an angel because that's all my little mind could think of. Fast forward to when I was about 12 years old. By this time, the encounter was way out of my mind. I loved watching action and sci-fi movies. My dad rented a movie called Predator. I'm watching it with him, and the first time you see the Predator invisible / cloaked, I about shit my pants. All the memories from that day digging in the dirt came flooding back. I even asked my dad if Predator was real or if he knew of anyone or any animal that had cloaking ability that I didn't know about. He told me it was all fake. It wasn't like it is today where I could just Google it. I had no access to the internet, so again, I just put it out of my mind. Again, fast forward to about the year 2004. I'm grown now. I have 3 small children. I just went through a separation from my husband. I moved to the next town over to an apartment with my kids. These apartments are all one-level duplexes with there being 5 buildings. I'm at the very last apartment of the last building. The apartments are considered in town, but are on the outskirts. There's a deep ditch that runs behind the buildings with a chain-link fence that separates the backyard from the ditch. There's about 6 or 7 trees on our side of the fence. And if you follow the ditch a little bit, You hit a small forest that eventually leads to the country with a larger forest and farmland. I'm a smoker, but would not smoke in the apartment because of the kids, so I often went out to the back porch. One night I was up late doing laundry and stuff after the kids went to bed. I decided to take a smoke break before I myself went to sleep. So I'm back there on the porch and I started hearing this faint clicking sound. I immediately looked to the ditch because I'd seen a groundhog out there a few days before and thought perhaps he was out there again. The yard is faintly lit from the outside light that's by the playground that is to the right of my back porch. I didn't turn on my porch light. I didn't normally if I was just going out for a quick smoke. I didn't see any groundhog or movement from the ditch, so I go back to smoking my cigarette. The faint clicking sound keeps happening, and a slight shift of movement makes me look up into the tree to the left of my porch. It's there. The same invisible thing I'd seen when I was 5. It's like a distortion and in a humanoid shape. It's crouched down on the branch with an arm out holding onto the trunk of the tree. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this happening? Has it come to kill me from me seeing it all those years ago? All I could think about was my kids in the apartment sleeping. I ran in and slammed and locked the door. I ran to the kids' room and made sure all the windows were locked. Then I just turned out the lights in the living room and stared out the blinds at the tree to see if I could catch another glimpse of it. I sat there for a good 10 minutes and couldn't see anything. I began to think I was just tired and my mind was playing tricks on me. Just as I was finally talking myself down, a neighbor's dog comes running across the yard and starts barking at the tree, the same branch that I'd seen this predator thing on. That pretty much freaked me out because this dog was not a barker. I've actually never heard him bark at anything, even at the groundhog that had been hanging out at the ditch. This barking went on for a few minutes until I hear the neighbor lady who owns the dog call him back inside. The dog reluctantly turned to go back home, stopping every few feet to look back at the branch of the tree until he was out of my sight. I didn't sleep that night and have never seen anything like it again. I don't know what to think of it. I'm a grown woman. I have kids and a good career. I just want to know if anyone else has ever had an experience like this. I know what I saw, believe it or not. Also, just a strange little side note about my obsession with digging when I was younger. I had an uncanny ability to just know where to dig for stuff. Like I said, I used to dig up arrowheads and unusual rocks and geodes all the time. It was kind of strange. I remember this one time I was fishing with my dad, and when we got back to the camp, I just started randomly digging in a meadow off to the side of the camp. I dug up a whole bunch of marbles. It was weird. They were all pretty deep, too. My dad was pretty amazed by it. Thanks for taking the time to read this. Anonymous. I'm not sure what happened to me in the woods. I don't know if this is the same kind of stuff, but someone said I should post this here. Okay, so I know this is going to sound crazy, and honestly, I've spent a long time reading stories on here and called BS on stories half as crazy as what happened to me. I'm no writer, so I apologize in advance if I don't explain this well. I love creepy stuff and spend a lot of time listening to stories on YouTube and reading them here and various other places. A friend of mine came to me because she knows I love stuff like this and told me she had a strange experience the other night with her boyfriend where she parked near a woods on the edge of town, and just as they were about to start fooling around, something made a creepy giggling noise from the woods. Her boyfriend got out and threw stones into the woods, thinking someone was playing a prank or something. She said he shined his phone light into the woods, and they both saw what looked like tiny people scattering back into the woods. I asked how tiny. She said about the size of her dog, which is a little white fluffy thing. I'm not sure what the type is, but they're really small dogs. I drove up to the woods that night to check it out and parked near where she said she parked, but didn't hear anything. So after a while, I got out of the car and went into the woods to look around. I didn't want to go far in, and I swear I took less than 20 steps into the woods when I heard a laugh. It sounded like a little girl, but off. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but I spun around and pointed my torch to where it had come from, and there was nothing there. Then, as I was looking around for what had made the sound, I realized I was really far into the woods, like seriously far in them, and I couldn't see my car or even the road. I know I hadn't walked that far. I was confused as hell, and when I went to head back the way I came from, I wasn't even on a path. I weirdly didn't panic, though I remember being what I would call drunk calm. Like when someone kicks off a problem in a bar, but you've had a few, so you just have no reaction to it. Like part of you knows you should be reacting, but you're just not. I just looked around and started walking in what I felt was the right direction, but the more I walked, I felt like I was dazed, and I kept thinking it was because it was so hot. It was pretty late at night, so it shouldn't have been. But I felt like I was on a beach on holiday somewhere, and I just kept thinking I need to cool down to clear my head, so I started stripping. I'm seriously not the kind of girl who just strips off, by the way. Like, I'm not shy, but I don't do stuff like that. But my head was just fuzzy, and I was convinced I'd feel better if I took everything off, and I was just dropping everything as I walked. I even dropped my torch, as I just felt like my eyes would see better without it. I don't fully remember what was going on after that. I felt like I was walking for ages, like everything just felt like a dream. But I felt comfortable. Even though I was naked, I still felt like it was really warm. I don't know where I was, but I remember finding a small pond and trying to cool off by splashing the water over my head and then sitting on the edge and dangling my feet in the water. It felt deep, like I was on the edge of a pool, like it was just a straight edge going down, even though it looked like it was a little more than a large puddle. I remember it being really nice and cold when I felt a hand around my ankle, and then a second one around the other. Everything still just felt normal, though, like I was thinking I should slide forward and lower myself in the water because it was so nice and cool. Like even trying to remember it all as much as I'm freaked out feels like just such a peaceful memory. I could feel the hands around my ankles, and I started laughing as something started tickling my feet. I'm not sure how long this went on for, but in my memory, it feels like it was happening for hours. I was just giggling and thinking about getting all the way into the water. I'm not sure what broke me from my daze, but I feel like someone else was there who said something to me. I remember pulling my feet out of the water, the hands letting go without a fight, and then turning around and walking away. Everything is blank, though, after I started walking away. The next thing I remember is being back in my car, suddenly very, very uncomfortable about being naked and starting to panic. I seriously have considered going back in the woods to find my clothes, but thankfully decided against it, as I imagined the few awkward moments getting home were better than risking the woods again. I have no idea what to think about what happened, and I'm pretty sure no one is going to believe me, but I had to tell people about this. I mean, has anyone experienced things like this before? Thank you, Anonymous.
Awesome stuff. Once again, Steve Stockton bringing the heat, never the sleep, as Area 51 would say. The guy has that voice, man. I keep saying this, just he could read your birth certificate and make it sound super, super dramatic, man. Got to invite Steve Stockton to any campfire stories that you may have as we go ahead and jump out of the missing persons mysteries. And then we do a little something like jumping into the after hours wrap up, because we got our guy. You know who he is. He's Drew Banky, and he's in the back, and now he's coming forward. Here we go. Drew Banky coming in with the after hours wrap up. And I know this topic right here is one I just know you resonate with this topic. What did you think about the conversation? And I know you got some good stuff for us. So what did you think?
How about him showcasing abilities after we just had that talk yesterday?
See, you're gonna do the synchronicity thing on me again? Here we go.
The whisper of the universe, man. It's a whisper until it's not a whisper anymore. And I think it's for you personally, just you, Rob. I think it's becoming more. It's stepping out of that whisper mode. I think you're starting to really see the whole thing. And
Spooky.
yeah, I vibe with a lot of stuff he was talking about. The astral travel. I'm not so well versed in it. Like everything he talked about near death and everything. I can definitely relate to all of it. I'm sure I have astral traveled. I'm sure we all have. I think that's kind of what he was getting to. Like we astral travel in some way when we dream, but yeah, I'm not that well versed in it. It's interesting. The near death stuff, I can see how it's different than astral for sure. The clarity that I received in my near death, like in 2019 during the Sundance, when I come out and could repeat everything that was said around me and stuff like that, and had the choice to come back to my body. I believe that free will that we carry while we're incarnated, like in this space, we have free will that's part of that's written into our soul. I believe that goes where we still have free will outside of this body, which I experienced that in my near death. So yeah, but him showcasing that at the end, I mean, he's on it. And when I guess to sum it all up, when when you know.
And it's
And
like that every time I talk to you, Eugene Braxton, and shout out again to Eugene Braxton, because he always is a great way of being able to explain something like this, because like you stated, you probably have experienced the thing, and we've gone over even the definition of what these things mean just a week ago on my own channel. But to be able to ask someone those intricate questions about the experience while there, those are the things that you can't read. You have to have studied this and researched this like heavily in order to answer those questions, which he was very well able to do tonight, and I think that was awesome.
No, he was talking about the feeling, when you have that feeling, and then you follow that feeling, and then after a while, you're set into it. But I think he, the one thing, he did an amazing interview, but surreal, I think, is the best way to put it. When you have a surreal feeling, like you need to pay attention to that. Like there's a reason why it's surreal. It's outside the norm of your daily function and everything. Have you ever been driving and and forgot that you've driven the past hour or whatever? You kind of it's like on autopilot. You're traveling at that time too, like and when you have those surreal moments, like when you have when the first time you hold your child for the first, you hold your child for the first time, it's a surreal moment, and this is what I've talked about in QHHT, which the guides or whatever you want to call it, the other side of the universe, taught me a way how to do like QHHT for people. Like I've done that. I was taught by the guides how to do that, but because I was shown by myself through my own experiences that going to a heart-centered space is a way to astral travel or get out of your body. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I'm not that well versed in it, but what I found was if you can, put some in a relaxed state, meditative state, have them close their eyes, have if they're a parent, a good example would be first time you held your child, and that total heart centered moment when you're living in the moment, completely in the moment, and it's heart centered, and then you're able to, from that point, I talk people through, okay, how many people are in the delivery room? How many nurses were in there? Can you remember what time it was? Can you remember the smells? Can you remember and eventually they go out of their body and into that. They're more in the memory, and they've traveled back to that memory. Their consciousness is out of their body, and from that point you can direct them to talk to their higher self, do things like that. And that's how I was taught how to do QHHT. But the feeling of it, I love how the guest was talking about the feeling of it, and having everything in alignment, having those things in alignment, and then things start to happen. And I was sitting there looking at you. I was like, from the back, from the backstage, and I'm like, I hope Rob is absorbing how profound this is right now. How we were just talking, we just had this conversation, yesterday, and now he's talking about the same things. People that are in their spiritual practice or trying to get a message out, authors and stuff like that. Why would you go to an author that can't sell any books, or nobody wants to listen to them or anything like that? They have something that's off. It's not right or wrong. It just is what it is. But when you start getting in alignment, you start getting bookings, you start selling books, you start getting success. It is the universe pointing back saying, okay, you have something, the combination is right. And it's exactly what he was talking about. So it's one, as guessed by everybody, it was a wonderful conversation that I truly enjoyed.
Yeah, I knew you would. I was like, this is going to be one of the ones that Drew that really connects with, because I know that the whole spirituality aspect, and I kind of want to talk about that too, because and I've talked to you about this, and I'm just going to say it because I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? And it just feels like, when it comes to spirituality, I've done like a little research on this and kind of did a broad outlook on how spirituality actually does within this field. And I'll tell you what, spirituality and consciousness should be at the top of what we do and what we talk about in this field, because everything that all the subcategories like UFOs, Bigfoot, all these different things end up at the end of the day having to do with consciousness. It's like consciousness rules over all those things. But it's peculiar to me that this field doesn't really resonate with consciousness that way. It's weird to me, and I've talked to you about this.
But
and
what field?
In the field of ufology, the field that we're in, and like the audience that we talk to, it just feels like consciousness takes a back seat to everything else, and I don't understand that, because I feel like consciousness is the most important part of everything it is that we talk about within ufology. And it's like, it just blows my mind. I've stressed this to you behind the scenes before. I may have even said it on the show before, but it just blows my mind how a show, we could do a show about puckwudgies tonight, and it would do better than a show about consciousness.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the data shows that.
That's why the ones that can do things, the ones that can do tarot cards or guess numbers or move pendulums, stuff like that. That's why we need to display these things like that. That's why consciousness is hard, because it's basically an idea. We're hashing out an idea. There's no tangible. It's hard to get tangible evidence unless you've experienced it for yourself. And that's why I stand by the point that we need to display. Like, by the way, I got two of those three numbers, the last two numbers. The first one, I was trying to think too much. I calmed myself down and got the last two numbers.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the final break of the night, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with my guy, Drew Banky, as we go ahead and do the after hours wrap up. talk about what we felt about the interview tonight. And I would love to have your input out there. You guys could definitely throw the stuff in the chat and we're going to, we'll read it. But we're going to be back. Just don't go anywhere. 30 more minutes here and we're going to get it done right here. Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours Radio Show. We'll be right back. Yeah, we're clear, man. It's just, that grinds my gears, man. But
it's all about trust, dude. You have to trust. You have to trust it's the right moment. Just like a comedian, it's all about timing. You just have to trust. You have to trust what you're doing is right. There's people that guessed the right numbers tonight, or not guessed, had the right numbers come out. There's people that didn't get any numbers, but there's a new believer out of the group tonight, and we have to trust that.
Yeah.
And if not tonight, a replay.
Exactly. And we talked about that too. And I know that the conversations will be heard later down the line. And whenever the consciousness thing does become important to someone in their life, where they realize, okay, consciousness is key, then they'll go ahead and they'll find a show like this. But I just really, we here's what we do: conversations that move the needle. And this is with things that align with spirituality and consciousness are really at the front of all that, and should be the main things that people are tuning into. And then the other stuff comes too, but it comes afterwards. It comes when you do the hierarchy. Consciousness is here, spirituality is here, and then all the other stuff is beneath that. You know what I mean? It's all together, but the consciousness talk has to happen, and it's just something that I have to point out. And I want to point it out on air. I don't want to just talk about it behind the scenes, because
no.
Even though, let's talk about tough conversations, those tough conversations have to be had sometimes. And I'm willing to have those tough conversations. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing today. Boom.
Dude, when we come back. I wanted to warn everyone or give them a heads up. Let's do the pendulum thing again. Like, let's walk through that pendulum thing, and there be another believer. Because the pendulum moves their own hand.
Yeah, you said you want to do that. You got to set up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything. I just talk about it. Like, I don't hold a pendulum or anything. I talk about this and walk the viewers through it. So we can do that now. We can do it when we go back. What's up?
Let's see. We got 2 minutes. So you can do it in 2 minutes.
Let's wait till we get back.
All right. So we'll finish up. We'll finish up.
Introduction to Telekinesis.
Braxton.
That's why I call it.
And then we'll get into that. So that's what we'll do. Because what we'll do is I won't do the news tonight. So we'll just run this till the end of the show.
I share a creepy story. So 2019, I was at Contact in the Desert. And at the end of it, so I had a big message like that kept repeating in my head. I'm going to Contact in the Desert to make contact. And I shared the mothership story that I saw the third night of that when we was waiting. That went over the top of me. They had a C5 that happened at the conference at Contact, and that happened. But the next day, on the fourth day, I was sitting there and I was playing a flute. It was the conference was about over and we was about to leave. So I was playing a flute, like just praying. And this guy walk up to me. He's from England. And he's like, how you doing? How you doing? Like, what's your name? This, that, and the other. And he sat down. He's like, I've been looking for you. He's like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I've been in your dreams. He's like, my name is Grey Wolf. I'm a sun dancer. This dude's from England, and he's like super old. He's like 80 years old. But we got talking, and he's like, I've been looking for you for years, and I've been monitoring you in your dreams. And he told me what the inside of my house looks like. He's like, you ever remember any dreams with wolves? I was like, yeah, I had one dream. There was a baby, a little puppy wolf that was outside my window. Next time I had a dream, it was like a 1-year-old wolf. And the third dream I had, it was an adult wolf. But 2 of the times it was inside my house in Crestone. And this is, years ago, but he described the inside of my house. And yeah, he's the one that helped me with the pendulum thing and all that. But he's like, one day you're gonna be able to move the pendulum without even touching it. And this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at now. Like, I'm able. If you were holding a pendulum right now over a lighter, I'd be able to. My words, my consciousness or whatever could do it through with you holding it.
All right, as we get ready to come back right now, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. We are in the final half of the third hour right here. Have an awesome conversation with Drew Banky here as we go over what we talked about earlier, which if you missed the interview, hours 1 and 2 with Eugene Braxton, you want to make sure you go to youtube.com/@spacedoutradio, where you can rewind or hop in a time machine. Go back 2.5 hours and catch the show. Awesome stuff. So kind of just getting into wrapping up the wrap up. The near death stuff, right? So I just want to get into that real quick because, in the whole me being touched by this thing, right? And here's the thing. This is another thing to go along with what we said during the break. I'm just a 100% genuine guy, right? What you see is what you get, right? There would never be a point in, everyone knows my mission. It's all about humanity and making sure we move the needle. There would never be a time where you would find me embellishing or over embellishing on a story or just making something up to fit in or to sound cool. So when I do talk about my experiences, these are you could take these to the bank as far as the descriptions that I'm giving you. You've seen my receipts that I've had and brought forward. They're 100% authentic. So getting into this near death part of this is why it was really wild that I thought about it as we were talking, because I'm like, whoa, I had that recent experience where I was let me ask him about that because he could potentially give me insight into that. Mm-hmm. And just the scary part of it was, being in that realm, right? Because like I said, I'm in a waking state. I'm awake as we're sitting here now. And then just imagine slipping into another dimension just as you're wide awake like this. And that's what was happening. So knowing that there is this realm over there where I guess spirits, for better word, or whatever exists over there, other astral travelers and maybe, I don't know, energies, spirits. It's just scary to be like, okay, well, it touched me. What was that all about? Like, am I supposed, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of treaded lightly, sort of, but I really was inquisitive in getting those answers because who knows what that can mean? You know what I mean? We know that realm is there. We know that things like shadow people and those sorts of things kind of live in that realm. And it's just a scary thought to maybe get lost in there or to have something that has negative intentions against you and then being affected by that in there. So that's kind of why I was hitting them up with all those questions. What do you think about that? Did you catch that part of the conversation?
What's the specific question about it?
Just basically the fear, or based on the conversation that we had about that realm where the near-death experiencers would live in, and shadow people and other astral travelers, that realm, which is right, I'm assuming is right next to ours. So being pulled into that realm. So if you either by astral travel or whatever I experienced where I was kind of half in, half out of that realm and being physically affected by something in that realm, just, the fear of what could come from behind that. Like, is this thing that's touching me positive or negative, or what's really the intention of that? So knowing that you can be pulled over there, what do you think about that?
So the fear exists only until the moment of you having your near death starting, like the start of your near death, or or anything like that. You know, when you like when you're dreaming, you know, you might perceive fear in a way, but you're not like really fearful. You know, you're flying, you're doing whatever, because you don't have the 3D attachment to the body so much at that point. And the one thing I can speak on for sure is that a near death, at the point of the near death, all fear goes away. Like there's a massive fear up until that point, and I think that's part of the experience. You know, you go to the most extreme point of fear. You know what, we're all governed, and I've spoke about this several times, even on this channel. You know, when I've getting interviewed about the about losing fear and having the complete and utter like truth come to you, like this floods you. But leading up to it, we're all like governed by the fear of death. And I think that all fear is a subset of the fear of death. Like we are by design, but especially here in the Western world, we are governed, and our whole existence is uh, basically, you know, 80 year time frame, and we're designed to fear death. But once your heart stops, that last breath, all that goes away, you know, and you go into this utter state of knowing that, you know, you will never die. That's why I was talking. I mentioned it yesterday about or recently with you, maybe in the background or on, I can't remember, but about the guy that went to go pick up the futon, and showed up at his house, and he ended up being a veteran, Vietnam veteran. You know, the synchronicities were all lining up, and when we got done and we got in the back of the truck, we were standing there back of the truck. The last couple of things we said, talking about my books and spirituality. I told him I had a near-death experience and spiritual awakenings through ceremony. He said, "Oh, you had near death? I had mine in Vietnam." I said, "Well, you know that it never ends." He's like, "It's pretty crazy, you know." And that's one of the gifts of the near death. It takes away the fear of death,
Yeah.
and then you can actually live.
Yeah.
You can actually live and kind of plan, like almost not like your physical self, but you can plan for your consciousness. You know, your consciousness is never going to die, because there's a couple truths. We have energy in our body. We all can agree upon that. And there's another truth that we agree upon, that energy never dies. So those two truths combined say that we never die. Like those two things that we all can agree upon as facts, scientific fact, that it spells out that we cannot die. And there's, you know, I think that's probably the best way for me to describe it.
Awesome. No, it makes total sense. And I appreciate that too, because yeah, I could see how, you know, once you go through or have one of these near death experiences, how that does free you from that anxiety, that fear of the unknown sort of thing, and kind of allows you to be more open and free in the way you approach things, because you have this other insight that most other people who haven't had NDEs wouldn't have. So that makes total sense. And that's actually a good kind of place to end that, and a good place to end that conversation. So here's what we'll do. We're going to go ahead and get into some stuff that you talked about, this pendulum. And I know when I talked to you about this before, I think maybe even when I interviewed you last, you talked about it.
Yeah,
so
I've done it several times.
let's get into that. But I just want to say one thing to the audience. Everyone that's here tonight, and everyone who chooses to watch this show on replay, you guys are all conscious-minded individuals. You'd have to be. You see the title of the show, you see that, okay, that's something I want to see. All I ask is that whenever we cover conscious topics, just take the extra step to share. Maybe a lot of you are already doing that, I don't know, but I just asked if you guys could share these conscious conversations to, a friend or family member, kind of get it out there, because I really think that there should be more attention paid to these type of conversations. And, we can't do it without your help. So it's just kind of like a call to action to all my fellow conscious minded individuals out there who understand that consciousness is key. And it just would be appreciated, and it helps move the needle. That could be you doing your part to also help move the needle. So be appreciated. So that's all I wanted to say to everybody. And then now, so let's go ahead and get into it, Drew. What do you got? Let's see what this is.
All right. So first off, let's all agree upon an object, a lighter. And we're not going to light a flame or anything. We're just going to take the lighter and we're going to place it down on the table in front of us.
Lighter. Okay.
For those of you that have a pendulum or can grab a pendulum, you can replay this to do this exercise, but hold the pendulum with your arm as steady as you can over top of the lighter and just let it dangle like straight over top of the lighter. As you're holding it, I'm going to speak about it. You can speak about it yourself, your own words, or you can just think about the words that we're going to do this together. This is like this is the introduction to telekinesis. It's an interactive exercise that I don't do at all. I'm just walking you through it so you can experience this on yourself. I'm taking a little bit longer to explain it to allow people to get a pendulum and actually do this while I'm saying it. So hold the pendulum over the lighter. As you're holding the pendulum over the lighter, we're going to think about the physical aspect of the pendulum, the 3D aspect. It's not the pendulum, I'm sorry, of the lighter. So you're going to think about the 3D aspect of the lighter. This lighter here happens to be a Bic lighter. It's black. It's got metal. It's got a metal ring around it. It's got a red plunger on it. It's filled with propane. I'm pretty sure there's a little flint in there, a spring, whatever. That's probably pretty close to all the components in there. So continue to hold the pendulum over the lighter as we're talking about it, as we're talking about the 3D Bic aspect of it. It's made of whatever, the physical aspects of it. Now we can talk about it in a different light. Now, everything that we go through in life has at least two different perceptions of it, two different stories. Like it could be good or bad. And then from there, there's so many different roads you can go down on how you look at something. But we're going to talk about this lighter in a different light. Like this lighter right here that I have in front of me, and I'm sure there's other people in the chat or that's going through this that has used this lighter to light sage, let's say, or to light Palo Santo, or to light a candle in a Catholic church to as a memorial to a loved one. There's so many to light tobacco as a prayer, like a lot of people smoke tobacco and pray with tobacco, like the tobacco smoke. So this lighter here has participated in a lot of those things. And it's sacred. It holds a flame when you light it. You don't have to light it right now for this exercise, but it holds a flame. And if there's only one flame, if we see a flame, that means it's connected to the central flame, the only flame that's in existence. Then it's sacred too. It can heat. It can light a fire to heat us. That means it's sacred. It's tied to the sacredness. It's providing a service for us. Now we can go back and talk about it in a different way, that like the 3D sense again. It come from a factory, maybe in Minnesota or Wisconsin or whatever. It come in a 12 pack, and then that 12 pack coming in a big case. It got sent to your local gas station or whatever. And it got put out on the shelf and sat on the shelf for a while, and you happen to get it. And at this time, like speaking about like this, we switch back. Like the moment you got it, it was destined for you to have that lighter, for it to serve your purpose for whatever it is, like lighting sage, lighting cigarettes, lighting a joint, maybe. But it's something in your service, so it's sacred in that sense. So as we're going back and forth and speaking about it in different ways, what you should notice, or what you're probably noticing, is when we speak about it in a 3D sense, the pendulum will be dead still over top of the lighter, because you're not giving it any energy. The energy, the inanimate objects around us, they become sacred because we give it reverence or attention. That's how inanimate objects become sacred, because we recognize them. And the minute we recognize an object, whether a lighter or a pen, writing down my ideas for, an upcoming podcast, or writing up ideas for a book, a pen becomes sacred in that moment, because it's allowing your thoughts to come down on paper. But it's also just a piece of plastic, ink, things like that. There's two ways to look at things. But if for those of you that are doing this exercise, if you're in the chat, leave a comment about what you're experiencing. If you experience anything, if you experience a change, depending on how we talked about the lighter, whether it be a sacred lighter or a piece of or a big lighter piece of plastic. When we're talking about it in a sacred sense, you should have noticed a swirl, like an energy coming off of the lighter, like a swirl, the Fibonacci sequence swirl, like this. This is why I've been to 5 different petroglyph sites across the United States, and this is at every single site that I've ever been to. This symbol right here. This is why the ancients have been telling,
which is showing a spiral for the radio.
The Fibonacci swirl of how energy works. It's literally each and every one of us is a tornado. Like, there's an energetic tornado that's pulling all our atoms and making a physical being for us. And this is what it looks like in the energetic realm, like without any form or mass or anything. This is what the swirl looks like. There's a swirl of energy coming off of it, and we can see that with a pendulum. You can do this exercise also with a dowsing rods. If you have dowsing rods, do the same thing. Hold it over an object, a lighter, just for example. Hold it over a lighter and either think or talk about it. The first part of the exercise is physically talking about the lighter and then watching the change in the pendulum. And then the next step is not saying a damn thing and holding the pendulum over and thinking about it, and it move. How many times have you thought of something, not haven't spoke anything at all, and it pops up on your phone? Happens to me all the time. Like, the consciousness that we have, our energy, the way we can transmute things, and that's essentially what you're doing. You're transmuting and transmuting this lighter back and forth. Holding the pendulum over is just showing the energy coming off of it. Or dowsing rods. Dowsing rods work the same way. Or if you had some type of measurable way to measure the energy coming off, I'm sure you could measure it too. But this was really mind-blowing for me when I first experienced it. And I've done this several times, and I hope a few people have experienced it, and hope this helps people expand their minds by seeing that this is ultimately how telekinesis works. It's not moving an object outside of your mind. It is you becoming one with that object and understanding that the interconnectedness of it.
Awesome stuff, Drew. So I'm sure, like me, I don't have a pendulum right now, but being that this is something that you can jump in the archive on and kind of rewind and look back, then you can go ahead and get everything set up to give this a try. So likely, if you guys haven't been able to, I see a couple people said it's spinning like crazy in the chat, but you guys can actually pin in the comment section after the video is over and just say, hey, if it worked for you, go ahead and kind of lay that down. And then maybe it's something that we could demonstrate coming up here on like the call-in show or something, where we can really get into it and really show it to the audience. So
yeah. Also, you can hold the pendulum like over the palm of your hands. Like, we all have, meridian points in the palm of our hands. I spoke about them before, but you can hold the pendulum over your like the center of your hand, and say my left hand is clockwise, my right hand is counterclockwise. And so my right hand and my left foot are both counterclockwise. My left hand and my right foot are both clockwise. It's like, and that's the meridian lines I've spoke about before, the meridian lines that go down your arm, they go and they cross at your belly button basically, and then they go down your legs to your feet. And at the bottom of your feet, you have 2 meridian points too. And so your right foot, left hand, same polarity, your left hand, right foot, same polarity. And that's like negative and positive battery terminals. Like, this is actual electric energy that's going through us, and we can raise our amperage through consciousness. And this is going to be the meat and potatoes of what I talk about when I go to Vegas in January.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Enlightening and opening minds. And yeah, I like it. I like it. There's been a lot of that here tonight. And this is why I really feel good about having these conversations and having my guy, Drew Banky, to go ahead and elaborate on certain subjects, because it's another perspective, one that is needed, and I think also helps move the needle. So, man, awesome stuff, Drew Banky. Awesome stuff. We're getting ready to roll this thing on in. So I do want to go ahead and look in the chat and thank super chatters tonight. We had W. Decker, who came in bright and early and just hit us with the super chat, said, Eugene's explanations are really resonating with me. Thank you for bringing on another great guest, Mr. Rob G. W. Decker, and I couldn't say this at the time, but you know the motto. It's conversations that move the needle, and it's always going to be that way, right? So totally love that you resonate with it, and totally appreciate your support of the After Hours Radio Show and also Spaced Out Radio. We got your guy Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Awesome stuff. Do appreciate your support as well of Spaced Out Radio, Cosmic Joe. We had Aloha Dave hit us across the head saying, fascinating conversation tonight. Thanks, Eugene. I hope you come back, which he will. This is like his 3rd time on the After Hours, and he's coming back. We're setting a date. And then W. Decker again. I want to add my vote to hopefully see Eugene back again soon. It's been a great show tonight. Thank you, Eugene and Rob. Definitely appreciate it. So we love Eugene and we thank Eugene. We also love Drew Banky and we thank Drew Banky. We also want to thank you. We want to thank you, the viewer. Also, we want to thank the guy that you hear right there on the music, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Tall. He's the man that's rocking us out each and every weekend. As he reminds us to never say never again. Because, yes, the phenomenon is real and anything and everything is possible. So if you appreciated the show, show your love, put your horns up. Also, we want to thank the viewers online and listeners on terrestrial radio and digital platforms, when and wherever in the world you may be listening from. We appreciate you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio. You know what we do here. We own the night. Remember, this show is copyrighted Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media Ventures Limited. It's been a pleasure serving you. Once again, as your host, I'm Mr. Rob G. That's Drew Banky. This is the After Hours Radio Show. And to all you space travelers out there, this is not a goodbye nor a farewell. However, as we go off the air for the night, you can best believe that we will see you soon. Much love to everybody. Take care. Let's spread this conscious message. It's so important. And we love you guys. Take care. All right. Awesome show. Awesome show. Yes, Dave Scott has Lon Strickler coming on in tomorrow. So you guys want to make sure you're here for that. 9 p.m. Pacific. Monday through Friday, you get Dave Scott running the Woo Train. And I'll be actually taking over, though, on Halloween, where we're going to have One Shin. So I don't even know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something. So make sure you're here all throughout the week, and especially on Thursday, Halloween night, as we figure some things out. Also on the Social Dig, which is this thing right here, my channel, the Social Dig, Thursday, Wednesday, the day before Halloween, we'll be doing a Halloween spooktacular. So not sure what this is going to, I'll figure it out. But then you'll see us as well Saturday, right back here at the After Hours, Saturday, Sunday, and the late night calling show on the Social Dig. It's action packed. We're doing stuff all the time. We would love to see you guys there. So we do appreciate your support here. Outside of that, man, thanks for coming on in. It's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. Drew Banke, anything to say to the crowd before we go?
Much love and blessings, and man, I just wish everybody would really understand how powerful and amazing they are. What great a gift it is to be alive, especially in this time and place. Like, we're going through a very interesting moment in history and human history and the species and the history of our human species. We're going through an amazing time right now. Embrace it, and there's more to come. Like, you're gonna the months, days, and years ahead are going to be amazing. Like, I'm telling you.
That being said, we will catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your night. Keep thinking of things that can move the needle. You guys all take care. Later.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.